I feel like Taylor Swift has been getting a little bit more.
It's growing.
This flack recently.
This has been growing.
But the Grammys really
I feel like people coming from all sides of the fan base, like varying levels of liking her music or her or what, or people who don't. People with any type of, I don't want to say like relationship, but perception of Taylor Swift are now kind of increasingly realizing like how much, not only just like power, let's say even like with the economy, even socially, like she has a lot of influence in those ways, but like emotionally, the defense people will jump to. And I think, is that because her marketing is really working? Is that because she's just gathered such an intense and large fan base?
Yeah.
What I'm saying here isn't necessarily...
Of the most intense people, which is teenage girls.
This isn't necessarily new. Like, nothing that I'm about to bring up in these notes is necessarily new information. It's just what I kind of feel like I've been seeing a lot more people look at. I don't know.
Well, I think she capitalizes off the parasocial relationship.
Right, but in a way that's like... I've seen a lot of people...
But so does every celebrity.
I mean, once you like one TikTok, of course, you see like 30 of the same nature. But I watched one in
That's
full.
Its own subject entirely.
Oh God, yeah. I liked one, and then that's, of course, opening the doors for me to see like a bunch of commentary on this and like, using the Grammys as the leader of the like video. Mm-hmm. But they all kind of touch on the same idea of like, this has been happening for a while. But now you've got this big public display of her getting up there, accepting this Grammy in kind of what I am going to say is like a fairly tone-deaf,
self-serving
manner. Yeah. And people are like, okay, wow, like this is big. Like it's been big to a lot of people, but it's big now.
Yeah, like do you mean like it's not the first? Are you saying that it's like not the first time a celebrity has done that? Or it's not the first time Taylor has done it. I mean, it's definitely not the first time Taylor's done it.
Right. Or a celebrity, I'd say.
Right.
I guess I mean, so, like, kind of, as you said, this has been happening. She's been receiving more and more, like, I'm going to say, negative attention.
Yeah.
Even from within her own extremely tight fan base, which I think is what I find, I think that's what I'm trying to get at. I find that most interesting. It's like, this has gone so far, all the way up to the Grammys, which I view as the peak. Mm-hmm. And now even her own fans are coming on social media platforms like TikTok and being like, okay, whoa, like...
Yeah, it's a lot.
Or they're doing the complete opposite, because if we're talking about being polarized, like, it's only going to get worse and worse. Mm-hmm. They're jumping on there with such an intense emotional response of, like, I know her. And I think that just speaks to the larger claim of, like, the parasocial ways in which we feel we know people, like, which we don't know her. I mean, that goes for Dylan O'Brien as well. Hard as I try to imagine it, I don't know Dylan O'Brien. But, you know what I mean? Like, it's... And it just, I guess, like I said, like, this is not new. Like, this happens with celebrities. You have a parasocial relationship. They do something. People either turn on them or, oppositely, really go crazy to defend them and die on a hill that you don't need to die on. But I just thought with Taylor Swift, it's like, oh, my God, like, this is all of a sudden. Like, you see the thing with the jet. You see and this is coming from the perspective of someone who, as I stated in the very beginning, I'm a casual viewer of like her life and of engaging with her music. So for it to reach me, like it's just been a lot. I don't know.
No, I totally understand.
I've seen a lot of TikToks about Taylor Swift recently, guys.
No, she's
been watching them all.
No, and I agree. It's like we don't know her. We don't know what her intentions are. Mm-hmm. So for anybody to go on and like defend vehemently is a little crazy, because it's like, well, what she's doing on the surface is all that you know.
That's the other thing.
You don't know.
It's like...
there might be people that do know her. But it's not like we can trust her press or marketing people to do it.
Right.
You know?
And the vast majority don't know her. And I saw someone on TikTok in one of these videos say, like, like, you really don't know her. You know what she gives you. Mm-hmm. And that rings true for every celebrity or any person, with an online persona in any form. But, like, when you're that big, this is then we lead into the next thing. I'm thinking to myself, like, when you're that big of a star, don't you have a little more, wouldn't you have more agency over using your platform? She gets a lot of criticism for, like, not speaking out on world issues. political issues, etc. Or if she does, she kind of turns it around, it seems, to provide more of a neutral stance. People, get upset. They're like, you have this huge platform. You could make real,
change,
global change.
And she has before.
She has before, but now it's like, why are you picking and choosing? That whole thing. So when you're that big, couldn't you be able to do that? But also when you're that big, does that limit you?
Well, yeah.
Or in her eyes, okay.
I do respect people that need to take time to educate themselves on a topic before they, start reposting infographics on things. But at some point, you do have fans that are in a community that might need you to speak up for them. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I appreciate the education, but there's other, and it's not just like one world issue. I'm talking about like all sorts of different issues, like, and so the education aspect I think is important because I think some celebrities don't realize that, and they just start trying to gauge what public opinion is doing and try and just like go with whatever that is. Yeah. And I think you see a lot of celebrities either regret that or we don't care about their opinion because we know they're not educated on it. So I think people like Taylor, like people want more from them than just like a repost of an infographic. And I think that's the thing. I mean, once you get too, like you said, once you get too big, people will want more from you.
Right. But then almost not ironically, but then she's such a large star that but you can't make everyone happy, and I think that's like that's where this becomes a little bit like we're losing a little bit of with super big celebrities, not just Taylor Swift. You lose a little bit of like the human like pushback, the opinions we all have that just like want to like break free sometimes because you're trying so hard to capture as many people at once. Well, that's not going to work.
Right. It's so like a politician.
So what you're going to do is
she's counting voters.
You're going to capture one demographic.
Yeah.
Which is predominantly young white women.
Yes.
You're going to capture all of them. Not all, but most. And that's not to say that's her only demographic, but let's,
it's
be
the
real.
Largest, yeah.
And just kind of try to, like, coast. Now, you're not looking to Taylor Swift for political advice. You're not looking to these stars. They made music. These stars make music.
Yeah.
They get famous. Then they're famous.
Yeah.
However, I personally believe that comes with a level of, like, social responsibility.
Absolutely.
If you have that many people listening to you
saying, yeah.
in a world and in a social and political climate where not many people that need to be heard are being heard, and you have the power, you have access to, like, their attention and, like, them in a way that could really be beneficial should you work on how to use it. The thing is, like, you have all these resources.
Right.
Like, you've got money, and you've got, like, social media, and you've got, like, you have a lot. I don't know. Like, she just has a lot of ways she could be making these changes happen.
Not only does she have a platform, but she's also a billionaire.
Right. And I think that's another reason why people are like, okay, like, you've got all the cards to play.
Right,
play
and
them.
she's been slapped on the hand. I think this is, honestly, the first thing that recently, like, the flack that's been, like, I don't know, that's been following
like building?
her.
Okay.
The first thing that I saw out of all of this is just, like, white feminism.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just, and it's, like, very obvious. And I think one of the things, like, me and Ms. Dipika, we talked about this a little bit. We were saying Ice Spice, this past summer, she had a collab with Ice Spice, and this was the first time she had ever collabed with a woman of color in her, like, 15-year career. And it's just, like, I don't know, like, I think that's a valid point to bring up when you're talking about a celebrity that's been on this world stage for how long, and it's like, we don't see her stand up, represent anything, like, people of color or anything, and, like, obviously that's not her wheelhouse. She is a white woman, but also it comes with privilege and power and a platform that she could do a lot more.
Yeah.
Are you following?
I'm following.
Okay, great. Awesome.
I'm following.
Amazing. But yeah, that was like the first thing.
Yeah.
And then we got an even dumber thing that she started getting flack for, which is like being on a like like, being on a camera for too long at an NFL game. So it's like, here's this valid point about white feminism, and then I feel like it's shifted over completely to a point of, like, oh, no, she's in my football game too much.
And that, I have a note about this, that is where you lose, if you level those things, those two scenes on the same plane here.
Yeah.
No pun intended. We'll get to the jet.
Oh, we'll get to the jet.
Then people are going to lose the important one, which is white feminism.
Right.
And her kind of,
if you level the anger level.
Right. If you level, it's like, well, these are the same level of relevance. They're the same level of, like...
media coverage.
Right. And then it just becomes this whole, like, then what does it become? Extremely polarized. There's so much information coming in at what appears to be the same level of, like, anger and passion.
Right.
People can't sort out what people are trying to say or convey, and then it becomes polarizing. I mean, it's the pattern that you see with, like, many celebrities, and then it just fuels itself because then there starts to be divide, and then you've got everyone shouting about Taylor Swift, and then it's like, what are we even saying?
And then we've muddled the issues that are surrounding her.